Formula 2 has its first driver announcement for 2024, and it's a big one. Andrea Kimi Antonelli announced as a Prema driver for in Formula 2 for 2024, skipping Formula 3, jumping straight to Formula 2 from Freca. And who best to discuss this one with me than the man who's been commentating on his races all season long, Freca commentator Chris McCarthy. Chris, I guess for those who don't know much about Andrea Kimi Antonelli, can you tell us a little bit about his career and his season so far this season?
Oh, yeah. Well, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, where do you start? Obviously, Mercedes Junior. And I guess the most simple thing to say about him is he's won everything he's ever competed in single-seater racing. He did the Italian and ADAC F4 championships last year, and he won both of those. Breaking records for most wins in a season in Italian F4. I don't think he even did all the rounds in ADAC F4, and he still won that. And then he won the F4 Motorsport Games, the FIA Motorsport Games F4 Cup for Team Italy as well. He absolutely blitzed it. And then this season, he started by winning the Formula Regional Middle East Championship in a great fight with Taylor Barnard. Then he came into Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine as the firm favourite with Prema, and he has gone and won the title with a round to spare. Of course, going into Hockenheim, our season finale last weekend, he'd already wrapped up the title. He won the title at Zandvoort in a drive from 8th to 1st. It took him 2.5 laps to get into the lead. He won by 12.5 seconds in the wet, despite a red flag. And then he broke the record for most points scored in a season. He scored 300 points, which is more than anyone's ever scored. He got the joint most wins as well, 5 wins this season, 11 podiums as well, which puts him, I think, 5th overall for the most podiums anyone's ever got in their careers, let alone a single season. And yeah, he's done fantastic. And then I think he ended his season perfectly. Going into the final round, Prema and RHGP were in a really close fight. RHGP did all they could. They got a 1-2 finish on Saturday and then a 1-2 finish Sunday. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli broke hearts of RHGP fans. He was in 7th place and got told over team radio, "You've got 2 laps to get us 6th place. If you do, you'll win us the team's championship." You know, at this stage, the 2 teams were tied on points, and on the final lap of the season, he overtook Nikhil Bora from Trident in a move down at the turn 6 hairpin, and that sums up Andrea Kimi Antonelli for me as a driver. He is there when the big moments are there to be had. Andrea Kimi Antonelli comes out. So, yeah, for me, I think that the big takeaway from that quite big summary is that he's unbeaten in his single-seater career, and that is what excites me the most going into Formula 2. He's never been beaten before, so can he be beaten for the first time is the question.
It's a crazy record, isn't it? Especially when you say it like that, and still only 17 years old as well. It was a great move, by the way, wasn't it? And
yes, it was.
Get the team title.
It was fantastic. A switchback move. Nikhil told me I've been studying. You know, they have the push-to-pass system, which he could have used on the exit as well. I think it's also worth noting that Kimi had been noticed from a young age. He was a double FIA karting European champion with Nico Rosberg's karting team as well. So he'd been recognised from a really young age, and he was winning FIA championships from karting. And I remember him when he was in karting being a really exciting kid, and he's only ever really won things. So for him to not win something will be quite unusual. But so I expect him to go in fighting for the title straight away.
Definitely. I think a lot of people were expecting exactly the same thing. Was you surprised that he's obviously jumped straight to Formula 2 from Freca and skipped Formula 3? And why do you think Mercedes and Prema have taken that risk, bypassing Formula 3 and going straight into Formula 2?
I mean, yeah, it's a good question. I think it's really down to the new car coming out. I think otherwise they would have taken the same. You know, Paul Aron obviously went into F3, got the championship podium. You know, I think it's fair to say, had other things gone his way, he very much could have won that title. And I think they would have taken the same route had there not been this new car coming out. I don't think there's been this much hype around a driver for a long time. There was a lot of hype around Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, but I think Andrea Kimi Antonelli goes above that, in my opinion. And I think, given that there's a new car coming out, they see an opportunity where all teams, all drivers are on a level playing field. And I think from the records I just told you, Kimi has proven that he can learn cars and championships very quickly. But I think another level of it is down to the fact that, let's test him. Let's put him in this Formula 2 car and get him in there. So, I think it is down to the fact that it's a new car. I think they can throw him in and that he can get up to speed. And I think they see it as a gap, really, to take advantage of.
This is a big opportunity for him, isn't it? And, with the best drivers, you see with Max Verstappen, for example, Red Bull throwing him into Formula One at 17 years old. It's with the big drivers, it's they sink or they swim. And if they're going to do well in their careers, they've got to learn to swim in those situations, right? And this is another one for Kimi Antonelli that, he's got to deliver if he's going to live up to the hype that you've just, hyped him up quite a bit there. He's going to live up to it and a lot of other people's expectations. And he's going to have to go in straight away, and he's going to have to be on the pace from the get-go, isn't he?
Yeah, Max Verstappen made a big jump from, F3 straight into F1. Yeah. Kimi Räikkönen came from Formula Renault straight into F1. So, and we spoke about that as an organisation, actually, when we were having our end of season awards, when we'd wrapped up and we were kind of having our celebratory party afterwards, how the organisers were reflecting on how they remembered when Kimi Räikkönen made that step, because a lot of the people working on the championship were working on that season. I think it is down to the fact that they see the fact that he has got the pace, the talent to do it, and I truly do believe that he does as well. I think he's going to jump in and do something special from the off. I think he'll be right up there, it is really down to the fact as well. There's not been this much attention around a driver for a long time. I mean, when we're at races, there are so many people trying to around the Prema awning. It's like having a Formula 2 driver there already, or a Formula 1 driver in that awning. There's so much attention on it, and he really takes it in his stride. It's not changed him as a person. I remember him as a F4 and a karting driver, and he's still the same person. He's a lovely kid, and even though he has all this attention around him and clearly would have known he's going to Formula 2, he's still the same person he was at the start of the season and before the season. And I think that's really nice to see, actually. But yeah, I think back to your point, Mercedes feel they've got an opportunity to test him and accelerate his career a bit, take advantage of his talents, and I think that's what they're going to do here, and it excites me as a fan.
Absolutely. I think the accelerating his career is a really good point, in that he could have done a season in Formula 3 maybe won the title or competed for the title. But when you have got the new Formula 2 cars coming in, everyone's going to be on a level playing field as such anyway. It's a great opportunity to throw him in. I'm really interested in, Chris, is to know, A, who his teammate's going to be, because I think he needs a really good benchmark to be compared against. And B, if it's someone like, speculation here, definitely not anything confirmed, but if it was to be someone like Ollie Behrman, for example, a driver who's very highly rated, a Ferrari Academy member, that would be a great benchmark for him to go up against, wouldn't it? Obviously, second season at Prema, that would be for Ollie Behrman if he stays at Prema. It'd be a great benchmark up against Andrea Kimi Antonelli, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's, Ollie Behrman is going to be his teammate there. I think that's, it's just a case of getting the announcement out now. I'd be incredibly surprised. I know Ollie did do an interview recently where he said he is staying in Formula 2. So it's just a case of us finding out what the team is, getting it confirmed. But I do hope that is the case. I think that's going to be an absolutely fantastic season. Speaking to Alex Jakes actually recently, saying this could be another 2018 season. This could be going to be a really fantastic season, and I think he's right. I think this is going to be absolutely superb. That we can have a really exciting season on our hands. Not only that, we've got a lot of drivers from F3 moving up as well that are going to be tested against these guys. And but yeah, that alone, Ollie Behrman coming off the back of he's another one who's accelerated in his career as well, come through very fast. Having him that Baku performance is the sign of a special talent alone. Having him go against Kimi Antonelli, two guys who will not be prepared to lose. That's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. Hard for Rene Rosen to manage at the top at Prema Racing, but I'm sure that's as a team boss, that's what you want. You want the two best drivers under your tent. So I really look forward to seeing those two go together. I know they're two drivers they come from different karting backgrounds. Actually, this is probably something that people might not know. Ollie Behrman came from the Miami karting route, raced in the Miami Euro Series, and then raced in, of course, Italian F4, ADAC F4, and went up that way straight into F3. Kimi Antonelli raced on the FIA karting and WSK karting European scene, so they never raced each other in karting ever before. So I don't know how their F4 careers matched up. I can't remember if they actually were on that same, because they both won their F4 championship. So this might be the first time they actually do race each other. Thinking back, I don't think they've ever raced each other before. Never in karting either. So that's worth noting. They've never raced each other before, and they're going to be thinking about that real boxing fight next year, which goes on for 14 rounds around the world. And that's going to be incredibly exciting. And as Formula 2 fans, we're going to be treated to a hell of a fight there. And I'm really excited. Knowing them both personally, I'm very excited for it. It's going to be a really, really good battle.
Yeah, we certainly are in for a treat, and I know Formula 2 fans will be extremely excited about the prospects of that. And what a team, what a lineup Prema have got there if they do go with that. So just quickly then, Chris, before we wrap up, in terms of Antonelli, how quickly he can get up to speed. Obviously, you've experienced how quickly he got up to speed in Freca. What can we expect from him in the first couple of rounds? Do you think it'll be a learning experience for him, or do you think he'll be able to compete for wins from the get-go?
I think he'll, honestly, it might sound a bit ambitious for me to say and a bit biased knowing him, but I think he'll jump straight in and be fighting for podiums. That might be a bit of an ambitious punt and sound a bit biased as I've known him, but I just see a driver that has adapted to every single championship that he's done so quickly. The Freca car is a really hard car to learn as well. It's a heavy car, quick as well. And the drivers that get in it, some find it really difficult to get their head round. And he jumped in and was fighting for podium straight away. He didn't quite win straight away, but once he did, he was away and broke the record for points scored. He was only out the top 10 once in qualifying. That's because he actually never took to the track. So, I think we'll see him do something special within the first two rounds, be it a pole position or a podium. And that poster on Instagram will come up on our feeds if we're not watching it live, and we'll go, there we go, he's here. Kimi Antonelli has arrived. So, I think something special is going to happen pretty quickly. I just see for a driver to go and break a record in the Drivers' Championship and win a team's championship on the last lap of the season, I think he's going to do something special very early on.
So exciting. Okay, there we have it then. Our first driver announcement for the 2024 Formula 2 season. Of course, Inside F2 is the place to be for all breaking news and reaction to the big stories from the Formula 2 paddock. Make sure you're subscribed. Thank you, mate.